Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Spiritual Essence. So, first of all, it's starting to warm up here in Michigan. Thank God we're finally getting summer weather. But unfortunately, our furnace went out. And so much so that, we weren't getting AC, heat, nothing. So the whole thing had to be replaced. The whole AC unit, the furnace, all of it had to be replaced. And it's all set up and looking beautifully. So there's that, and it's very cool down the basement. I love it. Second of all, actually, I'm about to go to bed soon, but a thought did cross my mind as I was getting ready for work this morning. And I was like, could be an interesting video. So I've told you guys about some of the goals that I want to accomplish, which being I do want to have a house of my own, preferably one with a few acres on it at least, to start a small farm, start making healthy products and living off the land and stuff like that. Not simple goals, but at least something to work towards, right? And I have many goals, some of which are not dire. Like, if I don't accomplish them, no big deal, no sweat. But there are other more pressing, complex goals of mine that are, I don't know if I'm going to be able to pull them off, but I'll be damned if I don't work toward them. Which, as I was thinking about this morning, it brought me up to the fact, because I've heard this question asked before, especially to me, whenever, a spiritual topic came up, and, people were asking me, how do you know you're on the right path? How do you know that you're actually working towards the correct goals in your life? So, from my point of view, this is the way I see it. And you don't have to agree with me, of course, but this is just how I view things. So as I explained before, so there are some goals that are, I don't want to say throwaway goals, but they're goals that I do want to achieve, but I'm not going to worry if I don't accomplish them. One, for example, is having my own film studio. I wish I could, and I hope one day to have that, among other things. But no sweat off my nose if it don't happen, right? I've got many other goals in mind to work on. And then the more complex goals that I talked about. And I'm not just talking, about the farm. I'm not just talking about that. There are more complex goals that, it's a lot to get into, but like a lot of them require my belief in spirituality, which if you guys have seen the video where I talk about my beliefs, you know that I believe in a lot of out there stuff. I believe that, magic we can utilize as well as they do in like the movies and video games. We can get to that point if we work hard enough. And there's a lot of people who, when they hear some of these complex goals of mine, they're like, really? You believe in that? Don't you think it's a waste of time that you're actually working towards something that may not happen? And I go, no. And here's why. So first of all, I think not everyone has goals. Believe me, I've asked quite a few people about, well, what are your goals in life? What are you working towards? And not everyone has an answer. Some people don't know. And some people, it's simply a wife, kids, and a house. And a small house at that. But you know what? If that's your goal, fine. Some people do want the simpler stuff. And you know what? Good on you for at least having a goal. But not everyone has goals, So I do think it is good to work towards something. even if it's something that you're not sure will work. There have been many instances like that in history. I mean, Benjamin Franklin, Albert Einstein, Nikola Tesla, just to name a few. There have been many people who believed in something that not everyone else did, and they worked hard to prove it to people that it did work. And here's where it comes into the question, how do you know if you're on the right path? So when I think about the goals of the film studio, for example, I think about it. Seems nice. It would be great to have, to explore my creativity in a way that I am not able to do so at my current job, and to really explore other areas to see how far we can go with film and media. And at the same time, I feel like when I think about what if I never get to that point, it's like, well, I hope I do, but it's just like, no sweat. I don't feel any, I'm not going to feel too much shame on myself if I don't reach that goal. Now, for my more complex goals, if I feel for even a second or think about going against those beliefs or stopping the work that I'm doing towards those goals, my body gives me a physical reaction. Like, I'll start to get queasy in the stomach. My whole body will just start to slowly tense up. Sometimes my head will actually feel like someone is going on my head like this and squeezing and squeezing. And I don't get that reaction when I think about not getting to my film studio goals. But I do with those other more complex spiritual goals. And so I feel like this is something that I was meant to do. That means that I was put on this earth to do that, maybe among other things. Because I feel like there are different things that we're put on this world to do. Sometimes it's bigger, sometimes it's smaller and more personal. For me, I think it's a bit of both. I feel like I'm meant to do big things, and I'm also supposed to keep track of myself in the process and try to, how do I put this? Try to make sure that I do not slip over the edge while attaining those goals, and make sure that I don't lose myself. The camera was a bit smudged for a minute. Anyway, so that's how I know that those are the kind of goals that I should really be focusing on. And I have like some bigger goals that aren't spiritual that I also have this reaction with. And, it's a lot to explain at this point, but just know that they are big, and I don't know if they're going to work. But if I think for even a moment, maybe I should stop working towards this goal because it's too big for me, I'm not sure, I don't think I'll ever get to it. When I start to get into that frame of mind, I get uncomfortable. It gives me a physical reaction in my body. My body's like, what? Wait, what? No. Focus. Because, let's see, some of the symptoms that I say. So I said, uncomfortable stomach. Sometimes I'll lose my appetite. It'll feel like, it's not like I get physically sick. It's just, it feels like my stomach is not agreeing with something. And I lose my appetite. My head will sometimes start to pound, or I'll feel like this squeezing, like a hand is there, squeezing it. My body, my muscles start to tense up, and they do it in like a slow pattern. It'll start usually in the center of my heart, and then it'll expand out when I start to think about this. But when I start to feel those feelings, I'm like, uh-oh. This probably means that I am not thinking in the right way. I'm meant to do this. It's part of my nature. So it would be like to go against my own nature, and that's uncomfortable. It'd be like a lion trying to be vegetarian. its body is going to have a physical reaction to trying to eat lettuce or grass. It's not going to be well because that is not its nature. It needs to eat meat. That's part of its nature. So if you have a goal in mind that, you really want to work toward, it's like a passion of yours. It burns brightly in your heart. And you feel like, I will do this. I will do this. Much like in Disney's Princess and the Frog, one of their last great 2D hand-drawn animation movies. Where Tiana, her goal is to have the restaurant, right? And she works 2 jobs her whole life to try and get to this goal because it burns brightly in her soul. And when people try to tell her negative stuff like, you're working too hard, stop it, you're probably never going to get that restaurant anyway, she has a negative reaction to it because it's something she's meant to do. So if you have a feeling like this towards one or even multiple of your goals, then maybe that's a sign that you're meant to do this. If it's a goal that you think about that you want to do, but thinking about it not succeeding, it's not really giving you that reaction. You're just like, well, no big deal. It's an elective, basically. So there are, how there are elective classes, and then there are part of the full-on curricular classes. Then those are probably electives. Things that you don't have to do, but they're okay if you do. No problem. I mean, life is yours to do what you please. And I've got plenty of elective goals. And I also have many goals that I do believe are part of a curricular. And I need to follow those. And even if I don't succeed in this life, I'll try again in the next. But I will be working towards these goals, these full curricular goals, till the day I die. And I just thank goodness, I thank the gods, actually, that I at least am working towards something. Because not everyone has goals, and I do find that sad, but that's just me. So let me know, guys, if you agree with my assessment and why. And if you don't agree with my assessment, why? And also, I would like to know, does anyone else get that feeling with any of their goals where their body actually gives them a physical negative reaction when they think about not accomplishing those goals or maybe giving up on those goals? Please let me know down in the comments. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please subscribe. Don't forget to hit the bell button so you don't miss any of my future uploads. Please follow me on Twitter at The Spiritualist. And have a good day, everyone. Ta-ta.